Have you ever had an encounter with a crazy customer? That's what we're talking about today. I'm going to be sharing with you a story, a personal, true experience in my life of owning a lawn care, actually two companies. We encountered a handful of crazy customers over the last 5 years. So we service about 400 to, well, now up to about 500 customers each year. And these are recurring customers. The jobs don't always go the way that you would think. Most people are like, okay, I just need to get more customers. And there actually is a difference between a good customer and a bad customer. There is. Let me share this story with you. My wife and I, we were building our company over the last, 4 to 5 years. And we have scaled our company up to a point where it's not just myself or herself doing a lot of the mowing and the maintenance and the landscaping projects now. We have crews. We have 6 trucks that go out now. So we have team members that are going out onto these lawns. And mind you, this happened last year. I want to share the story to hopefully enlighten you guys on how to handle crazy customers. We're going to name this customer Karen. Why? Because that's just what we're going to be rolling with today. So Karen was, an ideal customer. We signed up. She gave us her credit card on file. She agreed to services. She signed up for weed control and mowing services. Everything was great. Everything was going well. After, a few cuts, we got her lawn cleaned up and everything was looking good. And then all of a sudden, we started getting complaints from Karen. The way that these complaints looked like were unusual complaints. All right. These weren't like, hey, you just blatantly left the gate open. Like that clearly is a mistake. These complaints were like really small, nitpicky complaints. Basically, what happens for our business is if somebody complains, we go back and we fix it. We create a yellow slip is what we call it. And that team member that made the mistake goes back and fixes it. But what we found with Karen is every single time we went back and fixed it and fixed the mistake, the next week, whether it's the same crew or a different crew, there was again, Karen was calling our office and being like, look, I'm not happy with the service. So we had a really awesome, incredible team member. His name was Braylon. And Braylon was doing his weekly route. Karen called and said, I don't like the way that Braylon blew off the back porch. Braylon was an incredible team member, very positive. And so, being his genuine self, he's like, hey, you know what? Maybe I did mess up. Maybe I did go back. So he did go back and talk to Karen. Our protocol is, we ring the doorbell when we have to go back and fix these things. So he rang the doorbell and he went back there and was like, hey, our office said that I blew some of the clippings on the back porch. I'm coming back to fix it. Karen had an attitude that day. All right. I distinctly remember Braylon saying that like she was really disrespectful to him. The words that she was saying and the tonality, he said it was very difficult for him to keep a good composure and represent military lawn cuts, which is important. When you're doing business, you got to keep cool. You got to keep cool in these scenarios. So Karen said that when he went back to blow off the clippings, it had rained previously a few days prior. And so the sides of the lawns got a little bit muddy. And when Braylon went back there, obviously, doing his job, we work outdoors. He had stepped in some mud and she didn't like the way when he came back and blew the porch off that he left mud stains on her porch. So, and I mean, this is one of like literally every single week, Karen's calling and complaining about something. Where am I getting with this? There comes a point where there's always going to be problems with customers, right? There's always going to be gates left open. There's always going to be, quality issues and things like that, especially when you scale. When you're not the only one out there doing the work, there's going to be quality issues. People, your team members are not going to treat your business the same quality that you are. Newsflash, reality check. If you want to grow and scale your business to a point where it can run without you, you're going to have to go through this. And maybe you go through this when it's you, the owner, out there or the manager that is actually pushing the mower and you have a customer that you just know is a bit of a Karen. All right. Our office manager called me and she's like, hey, Karen keeps calling me. What do we do? All this stuff, right? I basically told her, I said, look, we need to tell Karen that it sounds like she needs a personal gardener and we continue to fall short every time we send a crew out. And it doesn't matter what crew, there's always a problem because we are falling short of her expectation on what she wants for her lawn service. We are not going to be able to continue to service her. So I told our office manager that. I said, look, just tell her that, say it in the most nicest way. Like, look, we're probably not the best fit for you. It sounds like you really need somebody that is maybe an owner operator or a personal gardener that can really tailor to your needs. That's the same person on your property every day or every week, right? Well, Karen didn't like this. Karen didn't like this at all because what she figured out, or in her mind, was that Military Lawn Cuts was firing her as a customer, which we basically were, because I can't keep sending my crews back when there's going to be a problem every single time. And I get it. There's real problems. And just so everybody knows, we're using different words, all right, and different names in these stories. So that way nobody is being targeted or anything like that. So again, our fictional, true story, but our fictional character, who was a real character, Karen did not like the way that we were firing her. And what Karen did was she went on Google Maps, found our address, and literally showed up on our property. She came up. I was literally outside, and I had another employee of mine that was working on our flower bed that kind of looked like me at the time. She comes walking up, and mind you, I never had met Karen before ever. I don't know what she looks like or anything. I'm just like, I'm super friendly when the neighbors are around because, again, we represent our company, our trucks parked out front, things like that. So Karen walks up and immediately, mean mugging, right? Face upset. You could just tell. Anybody with emotional intelligence could tell this person is upset. She walks up our driveway. She goes to the employee and she thinks it's me. She goes, "Are you Will?" And the employee turns around and is like, "No, Will's over there." And I was standing on the front porch. I'm like, "Oh, hey, I'm Will. Nice to meet you. How can I help?" And she's like, "Will, I am extremely unhappy and unsatisfied with the quality of service. And now you're going to fire me and all this stuff." Immediately, my hands start to shake. My legs start to shake, anxiety comes. I start to get like really nervous, right? Because I've got my team here that I can't look like an idiot, like going off on her, or, I need to keep it cool. I need to keep it professional, right? But this lady is showing up at our house, our home residence, to find Will, the owner of Military Lawn Cuts. Respectfully, I say, hey, Karen, here, let's come over here. Let's stand on the side. So we kind of walked away from the team that was there because I didn't want him to hear the whole entire conversation of how extremely upset she was and all this stuff. So we walked about a house or two down to our neighbor's house, who, mind you, had a Ring doorbell, so they probably caught. And we stood like literally right in front on the sidewalk, right in front of their house, and they probably caught all of this on their Ring camera and heard the whole conversation. And so I pulled her aside. I said, "Hey, Karen, what's going on? Like, talk to me. Like, I'm here to help. I'm here to serve you. What's going on?" And I already knew the whole situation because our office manager called me, the team members that had gone there week in and week out about all of the complaints. But I want to give her the opportunity to speak, basically get all of, hopefully, her anger out towards me. I would rather have her yell at me or be upset with me and tell me how I'm such a bad business owner and this and that, instead of her going on Google doing like a 1-star review and like telling all her, which she's probably going to tell her neighbors anyway. But I stood there for about 15 minutes and she was reaming me. "Your quality is not good. Your services are bad. It was really good in the beginning when we started, but it just went downhill from there," and all this stuff. And I'm like, "I'm extremely sorry to hear this. We always send our crew back to try to, fix it, ring the doorbell, see, what did we miss, or what did we did not do well. We could put in the notes, stuff like that." And I told her, and she's like, "Well, why don't you come out?" I said, "If I went behind every single team member and fixed their problems, they would never learn from it. The reason we send our team member back that caused that problem is so they can talk to you, communicate to you, build a skill set with customer service, and take care of you and fix it so they know next time they're there, that's what you want, and that's the way you want it mowed, and that's the way you want it trimmed." And she was like literally telling me how to run my business. And I stood there and I listened. That's all I did 90% of the time, is I sat there and I listened and I let her get all her anger out and all this stuff. And she even like threatened to sue. And she was like, "Your mowers messed my lawn up. It made my lawn uneven." That's what she told me. And she was like, "If you don't come back and fix it," she's like, "I'm going to have to take legal authority." And I'm like, look, when this stuff happens, I'm sharing this story with you because it was very significant in my life. I'm positive that if you are starting anything that you are in charge of and doing services for customers, each customer is not created equal. What we want to do is find customers that appreciate our services. I'm not saying that she was right and we were wrong, and I'm not saying that we were right and she was wrong. There is a happy medium. We can meet in the middle. I am positive that our crews made some mistakes while on their property. I'm positive. Why? Because we're human. Nobody's perfect. I've got different crews that go out there. Some make mistakes. Some are more better quality than others. But at the same time, if somebody's going to come at us and with that kind of approach, I don't know if that's a great customer. So long story short, I believe I went back there. This happened about a year ago, year and a half. It was either myself or Larissa. A key manager actually went back, took pictures of the property to make sure that everything looked good before we fired the customer to, again, cover our tracks. So that way, if she ever did, pursue legal activity, we could show her the photos like, hey, look, this is how good our lawn looks when we departed the relationship. And it looked great. It was green and everything. And at the end of the day, she was just being super nitpicky. Like I said, as a leader, I take extreme ownership for everything. I am not delusional in the fact that our crews probably made plenty of mistakes on her property. But if you've come across a customer that continually gives you problems such as this, I beg you, for your sanity, let them go. It's not worth the money you're going to make going to sleep each night, having anxiety, not getting good sleep, having that burden on your shoulders of that additional stress. And then you know what happens? If you have a family, you start to take that stress out on your family. Maybe you don't have a family and it's just you running your business. You start to take it out on your employees or your friends and loved ones around you. Focus your time and energy on the 80% of the customers that make your life easy, that pay every single week, every single month. You don't have a lot of problems. You don't have a lot of issues. Now listen to them when they come in. Listen to the problems because they very well may be a problem that you or your team is doing. So listen. If it's every single week, every single visit, no matter what crew is there, and it's a problem, let them go. Guys, if you found value in this video, hit that like button. And you know what? I'm curious from you guys. I want to hear your story below. Leave a comment on your angry customer story, the first one you can think of. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.